Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Zoom In. My name is Ndua, Bekima, and today I have the honor of receiving Achare Batey. Welcome Achare, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you for having me on your show.
So tell us about yourself.
Okay, about myself, like you said, I'm Achare Batey, Cameroonian. I work with an organization called ICAM. In English, we would say the Enterprises of Cameroon. It's an SME support organization in Cameroon that kind of facilitates the business climate. And equally, I coordinate a project called Enterprise Europe Network, which is a project with the European Union. I think that is in brief about me.
So basically, if I understand you correctly, you have like two hats, you have two positions in one.
Yes, I have two positions in one because Enterprise Europe Network is actually a project that is under the umbrella of ICAM, but somehow it's equally autonomous. So yes, I get to do the two jobs.
Okay, so you're here, you attended a conference in the US, the African Trade and Investment Global Summit, and you were one of the presenters. You had a presentation. Can you tell us in a nutshell what your presentation was about? You presented on Cameroon?
Yes, the African Trade and Investment Global Summit 2018 is a summit that regrouped, I think, a little less than 1,000 delegates from different parts of the world. And it was basically on Africa and how to promote investment in Africa. I did a presentation on investing in Cameroon, where I got to share with lots of people the investment opportunities which we have in Cameroon, but equally also trying to educate them on the difficulties that you might have, you know, if you want to invest in Cameroon, and what are the solutions that we can bring, you know, to help you do your investment or to help you get return on your investment if you want to invest in Cameroon.
So how is the investment climate in Cameroon? Is it, so if you, let's say somebody in the diaspora is listening to you and wants to come to Cameroon to invest, what can you tell them? What are some of the sectors that you would recommend that they invest in?
Okay, investment in Cameroon, I mean, I don't want to be all flowery about it. I would like to say, personally, I would see the cup half full while others see it half empty. We have lots of issues in Cameroon. We have governance problems, we have the Anglophone crisis, and definitely that doesn't make the business environment very conducive. But I believe that each time that there is a challenge, each time that we have a problem, we have to look at how to use that problem to our advantage, especially if you're a business person. So yes, Cameroon might not be the best place to invest now, but I think that with the issues that we are having, you know, if you're a business person, you can look at what can I bring to the table to be able to help us get out of this situation. Concerning the sectors, the major sector in Cameroon is the agro-food sector. And with the agro-food sector, you know, Cameroon has lots of, you know, natural resources. But the issue is that we don't have enough technology, we don't have enough machinery to be able to transform what we have for it to have the value that it should have, you know, in the market. So one of the sectors that I am really passionate about would be the agro-food, but mostly the technological part of agro-food. It means it's not just about the tomatoes and the carrots and the eru, it's about how to transform it for it to be exported. The second sector, which I think it's one of the highlights in Cameroon now, would be the ITC sector. ITC because, you know, the universe is moving really fast.
So what's ITC?
ITC, Information and Communication Technology.
Okay.
So I think that's a sector which you know, we will really be very receptive to now, given that it's something that would help us with the trend of the way things are going. The third sector would be construction. Construction because right now Cameroon is, in French they'll call it Grand Chantier. So there's a lot of construction work going on. There's the African Cup of Nations next year. With that, we have lots of roads, lots of bridges, and it's a sector now that if you have the adequate machinery, then you can get into it and you can make some money for yourself.
So did you guys hear that? If you are in the diaspora and you're looking how and where to go make big bucks in Cameroon, you want the information technology, you want farming, large scale farming, not your local grandmother's farm and how, and then also construction. So you talked about some of the challenges to investment. So what are some of those challenges to investment?
The first challenge I think we have in Cameroon would be the problem of governance. The problem of governance, which I think is an issue that we should be working, really, really hard to solve. Governance is really general. So every other thing that we have as a problem in Cameroon stems from governance. The fact that we have all the administrative bottlenecks and all the red tapes and all the slow administrative procedures, I think it still comes out of the bad governance that we're experiencing. So to summarize it, not to go into all the details, I think the issue in Cameroon will be governance. But also, for someone who wants to invest in Cameroon, a major problem also will be having information. There are lots of procedures that have been put in place by the government of Cameroon to facilitate investment. But unfortunately, because we don't have enough of this information on the internet, we don't have enough of this information maybe in the books and in the flyers, and so people come to Cameroon, you don't know where to go, you don't know who to ask. So at the end, you have information, but you don't have the means to transfer that information to an investor.
And you don't know if it's credible information because you don't know.
Exactly. Correct. So you end up getting the information from someone on the street who got his information from another person on the street. And 80% of the time, this information is wrong. So if we could solve that problem where people know exactly where to go to, who can answer their questions, it makes investment very easy because now they don't get into the wrong hands.
So if I understand you correctly, your outfit, the ACAM, that's the Cameroon
Enterprises.
Small and medium enterprises of Cameroon.
Yes.
So your outfit is able to help investors navigate some of these challenges.
Yes.
So how do you go about? What are some of your major achievements that your outfit has achieved in Cameroon?
Okay, one of the major achievements that we have had over the past couple of years is actively working with government. Before in Cameroon, it was a little difficult for the government to accept the private sector, to even listen to them when they were making decisions. So over time, we have been able to penetrate the government. It is not the way we would want it. We are not at the level where we are satisfied, but at least now they get to invite us when they're making major decisions that have to do with the economy. It's something. So I think that already, if the business people can be present when the decision-making process is taking place, at least they can say, okay, this is what we want, this is not what we want. So I think that should be, one of the major highlights, of what we're doing. The second major achievement, I think, is working with the international community. And for now, our major partner with the European Union, because a couple of years ago, like I said, we had the project called Enterprise Europe Network, which facilitates, business exchanges between Cameroon, countries in the European Union, but also countries out of the European Union who are members of that network. For example, the network exists here in the US, and you have, I think, 5 organizations in the US that are members of that network. It means that if you are in the US, you can go to those organizations and they can help you, link you with us in Cameroon, and we help you do your business or facilitate your business.
Okay. So you're basically you help in legislation with the government. You help them in making legislation for business, if I understand correctly.
Legislation, maybe that would be Trodi, because legislation, we are not government, so we cannot help them. Right. But at least we help them in the process, of conceptualizing,
giving them your point of view,
exactly,
telling them what you think will be beneficial.
Exactly. So we would help them, at the base level of committees and the commissions and meetings where, it's from those meetings where they have the concept notes that now go to the ministries and then go to the parliament. So we are at that level. We are also with the government at the level of advocacy, because we believe that because we are a stronger force, we can get doors opened which the SME by themselves will not get opened.
So are you are you part of the government?
No, we are not part of the government. We are private sector, but you cannot be concerned with the economy without dealing with the government. So we are there to support the small and medium-sized enterprises. And one of the issues that they have is working with the government. For example, if a small and medium-sized enterprise has a problem with government payments, what we try to do is to find out where is the problem at what level is it, how can we solve it, and of course the doors he cannot open, we definitely can. So that's where we come in, and that's the reason why we are different from a chamber of commerce. We don't get government funding, because if we get government funding, then we cannot do advocacy for SMEs, because the government will have to dictate to us how we have to run.
So then how are you funded? If you're not a government entity, how are you funded?
We are funded by the SMEs themselves.
The small and medium-sized
enterprises, they fund the organization. So they have a fee that they pay every year. Also, because we are dealing with small companies, and sometimes very, very small companies, they can't even afford, to pay their membership dues and all of that. So we come up with profit-making projects. We come up with sometimes, like every 2 years, we have a trade fair, which is like a trade fair for Central Africa, for small and medium-sized enterprises in Central Africa, where they come and then they can showcase, what they do, the exchange, they have business-to-business meetings. So we have those kinds of activities where we can generate income, and from that income, the organization can live. We write projects also, so we can do a project, that has to do with the economy and sell it to, the African Union, the European Union, whoever wants to, help the economy of Cameroon, and we get funded, and that's how we kind of survive.
So you talked about the European Union and network, and how there's exchanges between businesses between Europe and African business. So how is that going? I mean, like, because are Cameroonian businesses doing business in Europe, or is it mostly European companies that are coming into Cameroon and Africa and doing business? How's that exchange going?
For me personally, the exchange is not very balanced.
Okay,
that's why we come in. It's not balanced because there's the platform that makes it possible for Cameroonian companies to do business with European companies, but we are not on the same scale. We don't have, the capacity to be able to do business. So it kind of makes it difficult, for the exchange to flow equitably. So what we try to do with all the other instruments that have been put in place by the government is to try to do capacity building for the companies, so that at least they are up to standards for internalization. So yes, there is some form of business which is being done, but personally it's not done at the level that we want, because the European companies have more weight in terms of the money that they're bringing in terms of whatever they're bringing in. So we try to help the companies to upgrade so that they are ready for the international market. But yes, we have had to sign some companies, some contracts, some partnerships with companies that are doing business with each other from Europe and Cameroon.
So a business person in the diaspora listening to you, what kind of services can you offer to an African in the diaspora, particularly a Cameroonian who wants to come to Cameroon and do business? What kind of services do you have to offer to them?
Okay, the services we have to offer first is information sharing, which I think is very important. We are available to give information to Cameroonians who want to do business in Cameroon. to help them from not just information, but to help them come to Cameroon, install in Cameroon, get the right, reliable partners, help them with their administrative paperwork, you know, for them not to be able to get to all the hassles of signing issues, especially, you know, with the government, especially if they have to come to Yaoundé. Help them up to the level where they sign their partnership. Because most times, you know, you come into the country for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month. It's not enough, you know, to seal a business deal. So what we can do is that we can help you even when you're back, you know, maybe you're back to America, to see how we can continue till you're ready to sign your partnership with the company.
Okay, Achare, thank you so much for visiting us. We really appreciate you're on a very busy schedule. You just came from the airport straight to the studio.
Yes.
We really appreciate you coming to share the valuable information and the services that you have, much needed services that we really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilyn. It was a pleasure being on your show.
Until next time on the Zoom In show, it's your host, Ndua Bekima. Thank you.